So Kiran, I am so tired of politics, of wars and all these things happening around the world. Can we talk about something different today? Something a little bit more exciting, something more fun maybe?
I think we can. And in fact, I think we have science on the radar for this week. There's some very interesting stories going on there.
Oh yeah, totally, I agree. And I'm really excited about the last story that's going to actually come up. That's not science, it's a little history.
Oh, really?
But yeah, that's going to come up very soon. So keep listening.
Welcome to Takaro, the podcast where we break down the news of today for you. I am Kiran.
And I am Debkanya. We're going to bring you a quick roundup from the world of science. And like I mentioned, a little bit of history as well. So stay in your seats and all buckled up if you're heading to school or getting ready for school, whatever it might be.
Or listening over a weekend, a calm, relaxed weekend, Saturday morning.
Whenever
Sunday
you
morning,
want to listen.
Whenever you're, yeah.
Exactly. But first, the headlines. The first headline for today is 7 planets are going to line up in a parade.
Ooh, they're going to be on the road and they're going to be on a parade.
Are they going to be on the road? Where are the planets found, Kiran?
But either in the interstellar road.
The interstellar road. That's right.
Yeah.
7 planets are going to be lining up in space. Second headline for the day, Kiran.
A giant asteroid was going to hit us, but now it's not.
Oh, you made it sound like it's a bummer. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. And the third headline for the day, a pharaoh's tomb has been discovered in Egypt after 100 years.
So the pharaoh's tomb is only 100 years old?
No, the discovery has been made after 100 years of searching. Okay?
Oh, okay.
You're right.
Got it.
I should be clearer.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what's this parade of planets? That's what it's called, right? Or a planetary parade.
That is right. A planetary parade or a parade of planets. I mean, these are not official terms. These are not official phrases, but it's exactly, what it says it is. So this happens often, but it's very rare to actually have 7 planets lining up and visible from Earth. I think that is what makes this planetary parade very special, because if you look up into the night sky this Friday, you will be able to see the 7 planets lined up. You might need a little bit of help, maybe from a telescope, but you will be able to see all of them. And this happens when they're lined up on the same side of the sun, basically, right? So that's the exciting and rare part about this phenomenon.
So in their journey around the sun, every so many years, is there a number of years that it happens every so many years, or is it just by chance? I don't know. I mean, that's interesting.
That's a good question. Maybe we should find out.
Yeah. I don't know if it happens every 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it may be. We don't know what that is, right? It also differs because each planet's orbit around the sun is different. So you have to do a lot of math to see when all of them will come back together. But actually, technically, if it's all the same and nothing changes year after year after year, there should be a defined period of time where it happens every few years, right? Well, it'll be interesting to find that out. Yeah.
In fact, from what I've read, it happened in January as well, just last month. And this time it's happening, and it's going to be, like I said, what's special about this one is the fact that you can actually see it. So if you manage to, get to a place where there isn't any light pollution, you know what light pollution is, right? When there are too many city lights shining in the night, you can't see the night sky very clearly, unfortunately. So you have to get to a place which is fairly dark, maybe into the woods, into the forest. And then you can actually see. Not alone. Please don't go alone. Go with a group of friends and adults. Yeah. Yes, and if the skies are clear, that's the other thing, right? It needs to be clear. It cannot be a cloudy day. You should be able to see these planets. You should be able to see Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. And these are usually the easiest planets to spot because they're super bright.
They're very often found in the night sky. Now you can very easily, all of us have that app on our phones where you can kind of point into the sky and see where each planet is. Maybe make use of that as well so that you know where to look.
So you can pinpoint exactly where that planet is and what you're looking at. So that's Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. And Uranus and Neptune, though, you will need a telescope because they are further away. So they're a little difficult to spot. But this, like you said, the app might come in handy to help you with that. And the other two planets, Mercury and Saturn, those are tough. You'll need a little bit of luck to be able to spot those because they usually tend to be... Yeah, because there's something about how they usually tend to be closer to the horizon. Therefore, it's difficult to spot them because of the light pollution. Like
they're not high up in the sky.
Sun. Yes, exactly. So
the way
you need
we
to
see
have,
it,
you need to be able to see, be in a place where you can see a clear vision of the horizon. You can see the horizon very clearly. Then maybe you can see all 7. Why can't you see the 8th planet, Kiran?
So we have Mercury, Venus, Earth.
Yes, exactly.
Earth. Well, if we look down instead of looking up, maybe we'll be able to see the 8th planet.
You'll definitely be able to see the 8th planet because you're standing on it.
That's pretty cool. Actually, if you can spot all 8, that would be amazing. No? I don't think I have ever done that in my lifetime. I don't think I've ever seen all 8 planets either through the telescope or any of that in one go. That would be pretty cool. So if any of you do that, send us a message. And if you get a picture, even better, send us that as well. We'll share it with everyone who's listening.
And that also brings us to our quiz question for this episode. Now, Kiran, the first part of this question is something that you should answer because the second part is what our listeners are going to have to answer. Okay? The first part is, how many planets do we have in the solar system?
8.
Easy. Correct. Why not 9? Kiran, we were taught 9 when we were in school, remember?
There used to be 9, and then we decided that it was not planet enough.
Yeah, it didn't quite make the mark.
Which is Pluto. Poor thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Poor Pluto got kicked out of the planet club. But the question for our listeners is, Pluto is no longer a planet in the solar system. What is Pluto called now?
Disappointed.
Yeah, besides being called disappointed, there is an official term for Pluto. Send us your answer and you could win something really special from Takaro.
A gift certificate every week. We've had gift certificates going out to very, very lucky children who have actually made the effort to do some research and find out the answer and let us know for the previous quizzes. So you could be the winner this week.
Great. So while you think about that one, we are going to move on to story number 2, which is again got something to do with space.
So I don't know if you've ever watched this movie Armageddon. There was Bruce Willis. It was a long time ago, where the whole story of the movie revolves around this one asteroid that is coming flying towards Earth. And if humans don't intercept it and break it up, then it's going to come and, almost eliminate mankind.
Destroy the planet.
Yeah, exactly. And it was that big of an asteroid. So today's news is around that, right?
Yep. There was an asteroid called the 2024 YR4, which was hurtling towards planet Earth. And
by the way, beautiful name. 2024 YR4. That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, I wonder why you find that beautiful, but
amazing.
Maybe you want to explain? Because of how innovative it is.
Yeah, because it's so innovative. Wow.
Yeah, well, no points for guessing why it's called 2024. It was first spotted in December 2024. And, NASA, scientists at NASA have been tracking this. Did you know there's actually a department called the Center for Near-Earth Object Studies, or CNEOS at NASA? Like,
what
very
do they
clear
do?
In terms of what they do.
Yeah, exactly. They just look for objects that are going to potentially hit Earth.
That's right. They are always looking out for near-Earth objects. Basically, anything that is in the vicinity of Earth, they are monitoring and tracking it very closely. And it's an important job. I think it's super, super important. For example, that's how they spotted this asteroid. This asteroid, by the way, is as big as a football field. So it's quite big. And,
But that's not huge, no? A football field, all of us have many football fields in our own city. So how will one asteroid create such a big issue?
That's the thing. Because if something that big hurtles in from space, you're talking about a really, really high speed rock, right? Heading towards Earth. scientists were worried that this could actually have a huge impact and actually destroy an entire city if it actually did make impact.
Whoa. Which
Yeah.
city is it hurtling towards?
I mean, thankfully now it's not hurtling towards any city. So that's the good news. Scientists were saying that, there was a 20% chance.
20% chance is huge.
Yeah, it was. But now it's a 0.001%. So near 0% chance of it hitting us.
Like how it changed from 20% to 0.001. Can it now change back to 50%?
I don't think so, because I think next on its radar is the moon. From what I'm hearing, it might just hit the moon, but we're not really sure. The CNEOS, which is, again, like I mentioned, the Center for Near Earth Object Studies, is monitoring it closely. And, they'll let us, I guess, update us on where this asteroid is heading next. But, what it made me wonder, right, when I saw this news, what do we do if an asteroid really does, head towards us? Like, that's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah, but the movie Armageddon told us what to do.
For our young listeners who've not heard or seen Armageddon, why don't you give us a recap?
They actually sent a rocket and they sent people with it in the movie, right? which is crazy. But apparently, it's actually happened in real life once before, where we've actually tried to smash an asteroid out of Earth's way, right? So in 2022, NASA's Double Asteroid Redirection Test. I love these names. My God, they're so clear.
I love it.
NASA's DART.
Also called DART.
Deliberately smashed a spacecraft, and it created like a complete think about it. You take a rock, which is not really hard, and you crush it. It becomes smaller pieces, right? That's pretty much what NASA
and
tries
it deflects,
to do.
Right? I think that's what happens also. It throws it off its path. Like if something is heading towards you at full speed and you hit from the side, it will move to the other direction, right? It won't be on the same path anymore.
Correct. It breaks it up and it moves it to another direction, which is interesting. So I think when it becomes smaller pieces and it starts hurtling towards Earth, that's still okay, because the Earth's atmosphere will actually burn it up. So, that's also something that,
and that happens
they
quite
kind
often.
of consider. It does. You see small little rock pieces falling into different parts of the world, which are called asteroid rocks and, whatever it may be, comets and all of that. So it does happen, but small pieces don't really, destroy a whole city.
Yeah. So that was a close shave there. That brings us to story number 3, which, like I said, was super exciting for me.
The 100-year-old Pharaoh.
No, not that. Okay, let me be. Not a 100-year-old Pharaoh. See, stuff every archaeologist dreams of. Now, what is an archaeologist? An archaeologist is somebody. He or she is a historian who digs into the earth and tries to unearth things from the ancient world, right? So an archaeologist will look for ancient ruins. For example, if you remember, we talked about Mohenjo-daro. There are archaeologists who are digging to find old pottery, old evidence of life and what used to happen back then in Mohenjo-daro. They're unearthing entire cities. So for the longest time, for years and years and years, Egypt has been one of the most exciting places for archaeologists to dig. Why? Because of the ancient Egyptian civilization. Now, you know about them, right? The pyramids, the pharaohs, you must have heard of Cleopatra, right? These stories have all come out because of all the, work that historians and archaeologists have done. And now, 100 years ago, a pharaoh's tomb was found. Today, after all those years, finally, they have unearthed one more pharaoh's tomb. You would imagine that Egypt had so many pharaohs that country will be littered with lots and lots of tombs, and archaeologists must have found them all because they've been digging for so long. But it's not true. It's taken them 100 years to find this tomb. This tomb is, to correct you, 3,500 years old.
Whoa. Okay, now it makes more sense. And I think the last tomb that was discovered was the Tutankhamun's tomb, right? And why you're saying 100 years is because that was discovered in 1920s sometime. So now we're in 2024. So that's 100 years later that they've discovered the next tomb.
2025, Kiran.
Oh, we're in 2020. Oh man, I have to, We are in 2025.
Yeah. Yes. So that's
103
it's a
years
long
ago.
time ago. Yeah. And when Pharaoh Tutankhamun's tomb was found, that was a huge deal, and it kind of helped us understand the Egyptian civilization so much more. And that's what, archaeologists and Egyptologists are excited about, because, suddenly they found so many other things inside this tomb. Because the pharaoh that this tomb belonged to, and I'm going to give you a little bit of detail.
Who was this guy? Yeah.
This pharaoh was Thutmose II. Thutmose II.
Okay.
Yes, Thutmose II. And he actually was the husband of a far more well-known queen, Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut was a very famous pharaoh. She was a queen of Egypt. And this was her husband's tomb, right? But this tomb was empty because the place where this tomb was used to get flooded very easily, which is also why it was so difficult to find, because it was full of debris, and all the floods and waters used to make sure that there was so much rock and sand. It was all completely covered. So they had to dig through that. And therefore, after all these years, they finally unearthed this tomb, which was empty because they had taken away Thutmose's body to make sure it doesn't get destroyed, because the whole point of having these tombs, and for our listeners, in ancient Egypt, they used to mummify these kings and queens, right? You know what mummification is, Kiran? You want to quickly tell them what it is, if in case
white
they don't know?
bandage all over you.
Correct. Or toilet paper. White
Exactly.
No, but I mean, be serious. Come on. Tell them what it is.
It is the process where you preserve the body of your kings and queens, and that's what they did in Egypt, at least. I mean, mummification can be done to any body, but they used to do it only for the noble, elite kings and queens. And it has been so successful that we're able to find bodies today which still have a lot of, their fundamental structure, like the bone structures and everything. And this is very tough because human bodies, decompose, and over hundreds of years. So forget about thousands of years, right? It'll have decomposed and become dust and dirt in the ground. But in fact, these guys found a way to wrap it up and literally take out all the water, because water was the big reason why, mold will set in. So when you have bread and all of that, you see mold setting in, you see bacteria coming in, eating up that. So they were able to take out the water, and that was the beauty about mummification.
It's pretty interesting to think that so many years ago, you're saying this one is 3,500 years ago, people knew how to do, such
that's pretty cool.
This technique of preserving a body. It's very, very cool. And the field director, we should mention his name, because this man has been at this for almost 12 years looking for this tomb. His name was...
he has a lot of patience.
Can you imagine? I mean, that's what archaeologists have to have. They have to have a lot of patience, a lot of stamina, digging in the sun, for something. His name is Piers Litherland. He's from Britain. And this was a mission that was a joint operation between Egypt and the British. And and he was in tears when he found it. So very,
cool.
very big day. Very, very big day for him.
Well, that kind of brings us to the end of this episode. 3 very interesting stories. Not much to do with politics for a change. So that was nice and refreshing, and I hope it was for you too. So don't forget, we have the quiz, which Debbie talked about right at the beginning. What is Pluto known as today, other than being lonely and disappointed and thrown out of the planet club? What is Pluto known as? And if you know the answer, write to us on our website, which is www.takarokids.com, or on our Instagram, ask your parents to send us. That's usually been the most common one. So ask your parents to send us a message on Instagram. It's super easy, and we'll kind of pick a lucky winner. And until next episode, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Tune in again next week.